Georgy Zhukov, the general who defied the odds. Picture the vast Russian steppe in winter, endless snow, freezing winds, and a landscape scarred by war. Amid this brutal environment, one man rose to change the course of history: Georgy Zhukov. Zhukov wasn't just a general, he was a strategist who thought 3 steps ahead, a leader who refused to retreat, and a symbol of unyielding Soviet resilience. But what made Zhukov special? How did this peasant boy rise to become the Soviet Union's greatest military mind, leading his country to victory in its darkest hour? Today we'll uncover the story of Georgy Zhukov, his brilliance, his iron will, and the lessons we can learn from his extraordinary journey. Part 1: The Humble Beginnings. Georgy Konstantinovich Zhukov was born on December 1, 1896, in a small village near Moscow. His family was poor, and as a boy he worked long hours on farms, learning discipline and endurance. But even in poverty, Zhukov stood out for his sharp mind and quiet determination. At 13, he moved to Moscow to become an apprentice furrier, enduring harsh conditions in the city's factories. When World War I broke out in 1914, Zhukov was drafted into the Russian Imperial Army. In the chaos of battle, he distinguished himself as a courageous and disciplined soldier, earning the rare Cross of St. George for bravery. These early years showed his ability to adapt, survive, and thrive in adversity, qualities that would define his career. Part 2: The Rise of a Brilliant Commander. In the interwar years, Zhukov joined the Red Army and quickly rose through the ranks. What set him apart wasn't just his discipline but his unparalleled attention to detail and strategic thinking. In 1939, Zhukov faced his first major test as a commander during the Battle of Kokhin-Geol against the Japanese in Mongolia. The Japanese forces were confident, well-trained, and advancing rapidly. Zhukov, however, didn't just respond. He anticipated their every move. He amassed over 50,000 troops, 500 tanks, and 250 aircraft for a devastating counteroffensive. Using encirclement tactics, Zhukov trapped the Japanese forces and crushed them with overwhelming firepower. This victory demonstrated his innovative approach to warfare, blending bold strategies with meticulous execution. It earned him the Order of Lenin and marked him as a commander who could think beyond conventional tactics. Part 3: The Savior of Moscow. In 1941, the Soviet Union faced its greatest crisis. Hitler's Operation Barbarossa swept across Soviet territory, and by October, German forces were at the gates of Moscow. Amid the chaos, Stalin called on Zhukov, knowing that only he could turn the tide. Zhukov immediately imposed iron discipline, reorganizing the Red Army and fortifying the city's defenses. What made Zhukov special here was his ability to inspire loyalty and confidence among his troops, even in the darkest moments. He brought in reinforcements from Siberia, battle-hardened soldiers used to harsh winters, and coordinated a massive counteroffensive. As snow blanketed the battlefield, Zhukov used the freezing temperatures to his advantage, pushing the Germans back. The Battle of Moscow became Hitler's first major defeat, and Zhukov emerged as the savior of the Soviet capital. Part 4: The Turning Point, Stalingrad and Kursk. Zhukov's true genius shone during the pivotal battles of Stalingrad and Kursk. In 1942, as the Nazis launched a ferocious assault on Stalingrad, Zhukov planned Operation Uranus, a bold counteroffensive to encircle and annihilate the German Sixth Army. What set Zhukov apart here was his ability to think on a massive scale. He coordinated hundreds of thousands of troops across multiple fronts, achieving a victory that turned the tide of the war. At Kursk in 1943, Zhukov faced the largest tank battle in history. Anticipating the German attack, he built an impenetrable network of defenses and waited for the perfect moment to strike. When the Germans launched their offensive, Zhukov's forces absorbed the initial assault before launching a devastating counterattack. The victory at Kursk marked the beginning of the Soviet advance toward Berlin. Part 5: The Fall of Berlin. By 1945, the Red Army had pushed the Nazis back to their capital. Stalin entrusted Zhukov with leading the final assault on Berlin, a task that required both ruthless determination and precise coordination. The Battle of Berlin was brutal, with Zhukov's forces fighting street by street, building by building. But Zhukov's focus never wavered. He balanced overwhelming firepower with careful planning, ensuring victory while minimizing unnecessary losses. On May 2, 1945, Berlin fell, and a week later, Zhukov accepted Germany's unconditional surrender. He stood as the man who had delivered victory to the Soviet Union and brought an end to the war in Europe. Part 6: Legacy of a General. After the war, Zhukov's fame soared, but his relationship with Stalin grew tense. Despite being sidelined, he remained a symbol of resilience and strategic brilliance. After Stalin's death, Zhukov returned to prominence, serving as Minister of Defense and ensuring the Red Army's readiness during the Cold War. Zhukov's legacy endures as one of history's greatest generals, a man who combined tactical genius with unshakable determination. He wasn't just a commander, he was a leader who inspired millions to fight for survival and victory. Closing. What made Zhukov truly special? His ability to think ahead, adapt to overwhelming challenges, and inspire those around him. Georgy Zhukov's story reminds us that greatness is achieved through resilience, courage, and the willingness to lead when others falter. If this story moved you, share it with others and subscribe to this channel for more tales of history's greatest figures.